You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Coach, we are in the first official week of practice at North Carolina, and we'll say more about that here in just a little bit. But you have been able to just, from talking to some friends who are been at practice, just to get a little bit of feedback on what this first week has been like and some of the takeaways from it. So just wanted to ask you to just kind of go on that.
Yeah, one of the benefits of working camp is developing a relationship with the coaches and just calling and saying, hey, do you mind if I come over and watch practice? And one of my buddies from camp was able to do that this week. And I wish I lived closer to Chapel Hill. I would try to do that at least once a week to get over and see him play. But he had some really interesting insights on kind of what he saw. RJ Davis is pretty good. I don't know if anybody knew that, but that was one of the things he talked about, that, he's pretty good. And I think we all know that he's the guy, and he's going to be heavily relied upon to have major impact. He said Elliot Cadeau looked really, the ball came out of his hands really, really well. He shot the ball great in shooting drills and looked more confident. The shot looked more confident. His feet looked better. It just looked like a different type of player. So I think that talk has been, how important that was going to be. Obviously, Elliot knows that too, and he's put the work in. And I'm excited to see. The biggest thing for me, I think he's got to see the ball go in early in the year and just know that, hey, this is a new year. Forget about last year. The past is gone. Just you got to press forward, and that's what he's going to be doing.
So that backcourt might be just a little bit decent, is what you're telling me.
It's going to be pretty good. The disappointing thing about practice for me was that Drake Powell did not practice. I think he's already my favorite player, and he hasn't played a game yet. But I just love his demeanor. I loved his personality when I get a chance to meet him, talk with him. And I just think he has the type of game that can just make everybody better. So we're not really sure. He didn't know why. He was dressed out. He was in the practice uniform. He just didn't play. So that makes it seem to me like it was nothing major. So again, don't know all the inside stuff, but I can't wait to watch him play. So those were the exciting things that I had in front of me from his insights from practice.
Yeah, and from reports from Monday's official first day, Drake was out playing that day. I remember we were talking about Adam Lucas before we started recording, and he had written a nice little write-up from the first day of practice talking about Drake going up to try to dunk and Jay-Wash swatting his stuff. So maybe his pride was just hurt a little bit after that, and needed to sit Tuesday out, Coach. So that's good. Look, I don't want to press you for things you shouldn't say, but just wanted to give you the floor if there's anything else from the practice report to share.
Yeah, they're just working on a lot of defensive concepts. And anytime you have a new team, you're working on new stuff. So apparently they're working on a lot of new defensive things. And of course, we all want to talk about the stats, the offensive plays and the stats and things like that. This is the time where you're really hammering the defensive end, and you're really working on how you're going to defend ball screens, how you're going to defend in defensive transition, and make sure everybody understands those type of concepts. So a lot of focus on the defensive end right now. And obviously they have been practicing for a while, but this is, the official stuff kind of makes things a little special, but they're going to be a lot more flexible in how they defend people this year. And I think that's a big focus right now at this part of the season.
Yeah, there are so many unknowns given the makeup of the roster. And I think one of those, I think we've talked so much about how you utilize the backcourt, the front court in a non-traditional way. But I think that's one we haven't really talked enough about, Coach. You have multiple times this offseason to give you a lot of credit there, but what will Carolina do? Some things I would imagine is I wouldn't be surprised if we see them press more. I wouldn't be surprised with the lack of a traditional big, like if we saw more like doubling the post, just things like that could happen. I'm just spitballing with any of those things, but folks, I think that's really going to be something to watch for, is what does North Carolina do defensively to maybe try to hide some of the deficiencies that they might not have with individual rim protecting defenders.
The one other thing that we didn't talk about was Jalen Withers looked really good. His energy was good. He flew around the gym, And we know he's got that type of athleticism that he can do some really special things. Can he do it over an extended period of time has always been the question. And apparently he had a really good practice, looked very good the whole time. It wasn't just a play here and a play there. It looked much more consistent, and that would be great news for everybody. Jay Wash had a solid practice too. We're going to need those guys to step up. So it just depends on who's playing well, and on a given day, I think they're going to get the minutes, and play well, you're going to play. You don't play well, you don't going to play. And I think that's all you can ask.